Is dating Christian?
Is it biblical to date someone?
That's a good question. Let's talk about that. So dating. We actually found out and did our research that there are 4 different types of dating.
And out of these 4 different types of dating, there are actually 3 different types of dating, which is Christian, and only one which we found is not Christian. That's a good deal, right?
That's a sweet deal. I like that.
Out of 4, you can choose any of the first 3.
That's
just
great.
not the other one.
So what's the first one?
So, out of these 4, 3 options that you can go for, which are biblical or Christian. The first one is prearranged marriage.
Super excited about this one.
Yes. Prearranged marriage.
Prearranged marriage.
That sounds pretty scary, but some people still do that today. It's not something only for the past. So this is when the parents come together and they decide who gets married.
The parents are the Tinder in the situation. That's kind of like if you think about it. Yeah.
It's like before Tinder.
It's Pinder.
Pinder.
Yeah. But that's what
basically when the parents decide who you're going to marry, right? Which sounds awful for us. But even today, there are some cultures where they actually do this, and some cultures where this is pretty acceptable. An interesting fact is that marriages, or the countries or cultures where they actually do prearranged marriages, the divorce rate is way lower than other cultures around the world.
So if you don't choose the person you get married, apparently your choices are better? Or how does that work? Sort of like.
If you don't choose.
So prearranged marriage is a good option.
Okay, that's one option. Okay, but I don't think we've got many takers for that.
Not our crowd.
I don't know anyone that has actually done that. Okay,
except Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I mean, because your parents know you. If you really trust your parents, it makes sense. But okay, fair enough. We're not going to do that.
Second one?
Unless you're watching this from India.
No, then enjoy this. But second one.
Second one is courtship.
Courtship. I think courtship is like that. It's more like an Amish type of way of dating, you know. Courtship was actually created around this thing of that when you like a girl, that you don't just, go to a house and pick her up for a date and take her away, but you would sit in the house and have a conversation with her and her parents that is a part of it.
Yeah, but basically what it comes down to is you first date the parents in order to date the girl.
That's right.
You never actually date the girl, or you do, but in the presence of the parents. Right.
Which is kind of awkward. I've tried that, didn't work.
I wouldn't mind if I've got a daughter and then she prefers doing it that way.
Yes,
then I can keep an eye on it. But
I would never let my daughter date in any way. That's just me.
But anyways, I think the first time when someone explained to me about courtship and that's a viable option for me as a Christian, that's the way I should do it, I just told him, Pastoor, ek kort niks.
You're not that courtship.
I'm not gonna court.
Yeah. When I heard courtship for the first time, I thought battleship, and then you get a courtship. It's the different types of ones you get.
Anyways. But the point being, that is a very Christian way to do it. But the reality is, we know that if you're watching this, if you're part of this Western culture that we're living in, that's probably not the way that most people do that.
Not right.
So,
but there are 2 other ways.
There's still one more option
One more option when it comes to Christian. And that's called Christian dating, which is not the same as non-Christian dating, if you think about it. So you get Christian dating.
So that's option number 3, and option number 4 is Christian dating or non-Christian dating.
The 2.
Okay. But we want to explain to you what is the difference between Christian dating and non-Christian dating. How can you date someone in a God-honoring and a Christian way? That's what this episode is going to be all about. And we're going to give you 5 main differences between Christian dating and non-Christian dating.
Yes.
Ready for that?
Yeah, and I think when we look at it, we first need to ask the question, what is dating? Like, I know we're speaking about Christian dating and non-Christian dating,
but dating is a very new phenomenon.
It is very new. Like, I mean, dating hasn't been around for thousands of years. It's actually over the few hundred years that it's been here.
Yeah. Less than the last 100 years. In the last 100 years.
Yes, it started there.
Initially, dating was actually synonymous to prostitution. People were not doing it publicly, and that's when you just picked up a girl. Anyways.
Took her out for a movie and a date, and then
more than a movie,
if you know what I mean. So anyway, but I mean that's what dating was. But maybe dating is a very cultural phenomenon for us right now, and it's such a norm. But I would wonder if, like back in the Bible times, if they knew what dating was about, because we don't read about dating in the Bible.
Imagine you would have a conversation with, say, Paul that wrote most of the New Testament,
Paul.
and you asked him, so what do you think about dating? Yeah, that would be cool. It would be cool to have a conversation with Paul, though.
It would be cool if we can do that.
Imagine, eh?
Imagine.
Yeah.
Well, hello, I'm Paul.
And I'm not Paul. So, do you prefer Paul or Saul?
No, let's not go there. It's Paul.
Mr. Sensitive.
Sorry.
But anyways, Paul. Since we have Paul that wrote most of the Bible or most of the New Testament,
Stop it.
let me ask you this question: what do you think about dating? What's your take on dating?
Dating. I don't know this dating you speak of. What is this dating you speak?
So dating is when a guy and a girl, when they love one another and they are in an intimate relationship with one another, you know?
Like a romantic relationship.
Yes, like a romantic
Oh,
relationship.
yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's called marriage. It's actually,
Marriage.
that's the one I know of. It's when you get married.
That's too serious. No, that's not. We're not there yet.
Okay.
We're not there yet. So we're just young, love one another. So it's a guy and a girl. They just, they love one another, spend lots of time together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
like
that. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like a brother-sister relationship.
No.
You love them, you care for them.
Not like a brother and sister.
Oh, not
because you don't exactly do what brothers and sisters do. So it's like you're intimate. It's still a romantic relationship, but not married.
Okay.
Not married, Paul.
Not married.
But still a romantic relationship.
Okay, yeah, I know this one. This one is what we call it is adultery.
Adultery.
Yeah, that's the one we call it. Yeah,
So
when you're not
serious.
married, but you have like such a intimate.
Why do you have to be
romantic?
such a killjoy? The difficulty with dating is that the Bible doesn't give us language on dating. The Bible doesn't explain to us how to do dating because dating wasn't part of the culture back then. It is a new cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, it's something new, like kind of like social media for us. I mean, they didn't have this back in that time because it wasn't part of the culture, but it's part of our culture today. And we should ask the question, how do I do social media in a Christian way? And that's why we're speaking about this, how we do dating today in a Christian way. And now what we're going to do is give you 5 differences around what the difference is between Christian dating and non-Christian dating. Number 1
is Christian dating is intentional, whereas non-Christian dating is recreational.
Yes, non-Christian dating is recreational. It's all about having fun in the moment. It's about getting that guy, getting that girl, getting that Facebook notification that you're in a relationship and enjoying someone else, but without the commitment, without going somewhere.
It's like a hobby. The way that I love golf, it's a recreational sport. It's just a hobby. And so in the same way, you just do it for the fun of it. Recreational dating is all about you. It's actually selfish dating.
Extremely
It's about what
selfish.
you get out of it to have the status, I've got a girlfriend, or to get something else out of it. Whereas Christian dating is intentional. It's always going somewhere. And the goal in Christian dating is always marriage. That is the goal. That's
the destination that you're going to. And someone once said, if you're not on the road towards marriage, then get off the road.
Yeah, it's
if
as
that's
simple
not
as
the
that.
goal, it's what you're doing in dating. And I think when we look at Christian dating and the world's dating, non-Christian dating, that is the main big difference we have there.
And so although the Bible doesn't tell us much about dating, the Bible does tell us God's plan when it comes to marriage, and that is why it's so important. So the idea of marriage should still be part of the way that we think about dating, because that is the ultimate goal that the Bible is so clear about. That is God's plan for us.
That's what we need to do.
So it's intentional and not recreational. So what's point number 2?
Point number 2 is that Christian dating brings clarity, but non-Christian dating brings confusion. That's what happens. So when you look at Christian dating, it brings clarity to where you want to go. I mean, if you're in a relationship with someone, you know where you're going. You ask the question, are we in this for marriage one day, or are we in this for recreation? And if you know that answer, it gives clarity in the relationship. It gives you a space to actually, understand where this thing is going. And there's no confusion around, now what are we? Are we dating? Are we not? Are we Facebook official? Aren't we? And it allows us to put in a place where we are sure about where we're going.
Yeah, a non-Christian dating, or a sign of non-Christian dating, would be when a girl or a guy has got no clue about where do they stand with one another.
Where most people are.
That's where most people are. And we want to say to the guys, it's very important that the guys take the lead in this. You have to be clear on what your intentions are. A girl deserves to know what your intentions are. It's unfair toward her, and she also has no responsibility to tell you what her intentions are, what your chances are, unless you actually are bold enough to declare what your intentions are. But we're not saying that you have to propose on the first date.
Don't do that. That's a bit weird.
Not,
But
so it doesn't have to be that extreme, but at least someone asks you, if you're saying, well, there's no way that I'm going to marry that person, then, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, and I can just tell out of experience, and you can as well. I think from the first time I went on the date, my first date with my wife, not my wife back then, obviously, but the first time we went on a date, I knew this is where we're going. and she knew it as well, and that's why we could be married later on.
And if you found out pretty early on this is not going to go there, you would have stopped it immediately.
Exactly.
Remember, I told my wife, I like you, but I like you. I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
I made it pretty clear. I didn't want to be friends.
That's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Make sure you
Miles
do that.
Monroe, but the essence of this is just that Miles Monroe once said, is that where the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable.
Yes.
And so that is so important.
Yes.
Okay. Point number 3, difference between Christian dating and non-Christian dating is...
In Christian dating, you'll find disappointment, where in non-Christian dating, you'll find devastation.
That doesn't sound good. In Christian dating, you're going to find disappointment.
Yes, you're going to find disappointment. I mean, in every dating relationship, there is a place that you get to where you actually need to ask the question, is this working?
Yeah.
And when you do it in a Christian way, it actually allows you to rather be disappointed than devastated.
Yeah.
Because
So, but what we're trying to say is there is the possibility of disappointment, but not necessarily devastation.
Yes. Dating is not a 100% set deal. It's something that you kind of learn to know.
Many people date and then it doesn't work out.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's fine. But if you do it in a Christian way, you'll only get disappointment, not devastation. Because disappointment is in the place of like, we were speaking through this whole conversation. We know where we are. There is clarity. And now when we take this decision, we haven't invested ourselves, deeply as emotionally as we should have. We didn't involve ourselves sexually as much as we should have. And now we can take a step back and rather experience disappointment than actually experience devastation.
Yeah, that's so good. So the problem is just that in a non-Christian way of dating, where, for instance, you gave yourself to one another fully sexually or even emotionally, if you're in a place like that and you break up, it's really going to cause devastation. Whereas if you protected your own heart, you honored the other person, you guarded their heart as well as your own heart. There might still be disappointment if there is breakup, but then at least it can still be successful. I think this is a mistake we make, is that we think the success of dating lies only in if you get married. But Christian dating can be successful even if you don't get married and you found out that this is not going to spend my life with this person, but if you did it in a God-honoring way and also honoring one another in such a way that you can still respect one another afterwards. But if you were violated in a relationship and someone was taking from you what was not theirs, it's going to hurt and it's going to lead to devastation.
Definitely.
Good. Then, fourth difference between Christian dating and non-Christian dating is community and
not community.
Or it's accountability and not accountability. Yeah. We couldn't find a nice word
for that one.
The opposite of being in community and in accountability. But explain it.
So when we look at accountability, this is a massive part of Christian dating that is super, super important. Is because when we are dating, it's so easy to isolate yourself as a couple within a church community or within a community so that you can like kind of figure stuff out on your own. It's just us against the world type of speaking. But it's not that. There's so much more to it. I mean, when you are in accountability to another a couple that might be older than you, especially older than you, is always good because they've made the mistakes and they've gone through the things, so you don't have to do them. But it's good to be in accountability with them to say, you know what, this is what our relationship looked like. This is what we're doing at this moment. Is that fine? Is that okay?
So open your relationship that other people can speak in and see. And I think the big win in accountability is not so much about what people say to you. It's just the fact that you are willing to open it up. Because if anything is brought into the light, there's actually freedom. Whatever is in darkness, it's what like myth grows in darkness. Like, what is myth in
like
mulch?
Mulch. It's
myth.
You know what myth is. Yeah. Everyone knows what myth is.
All the bad things happen. So the thing is, if a person, and I've seen this so many times, that you just find out that someone's got a girlfriend or
mold. It's mold. That's what it is. Okay, sorry. If you were saying, go again.
Thanks. Mold. Okay. So if a person would just like rock up and say, "Oh, that's my girlfriend," and you just find out about it. My question is usually, what are you trying to hide? Like if you're not willing to share that relationship with anyone, and I think it's important not only to share it with your best buddy, because they won't really tell you the truth always, but to share it with...
Because they're also probably struggling with the same thing. Like it's like, shame, bro, it's okay.
But whenever there's accountability, it's already putting your heart to that place. And I'm not trying to hide anything. Other people are allowed to see what's happening. We bring it into the light, and that's extremely important because it's really, sin grows in the dark.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So point number 5.
Point number 5. We're at 5.
is that when you look at Christian dating, your standards in Christian dating is to the word of God. But when you look at non-Christian dating, your standards is the world's opinion.
Yeah. The problem with dating is that our worldview, our understanding of it, is really formed by all of the sitcoms that we watch. So many people grow up not necessarily seeing good examples. If you didn't grow up necessarily in church, where you saw how people, approach dating and how families are formed, and how the Word of God is actually the standard for living, especially when it comes to romance, then your opinions is probably influenced by Friends or, I don't know, How I Met Your Mother, whatever sitcom.
Scrubs.
Whatever your poison
Remember
is.
Scrubs? That was a good season. That was a good series. Yeah.
Even though we love the comedy, we don't take dating advice from those sitcoms.
Please do
very,
not.
very important.
Yeah, and the reason we do it from a word perspective is because God created us. God created us as beings, and He knows the best how we work.
Amen.
And I mean, if you break your phone or something, you take it back to the person that created it,
Yes.
because He knows how to fix it. And I think when we look at relationships, when we look at dating, at the design of how we are, it is good to go back to His word, to ask the questions. When I look at dating and I ask the question around my sexuality, what should I do? Go to the word. The word will show you what to do.
Yes.
When it looks at dating, how should I be to this person? Should I be selfish? Should I be selfless? The word will teach you and shape you to become the person that you're looking for is looking for. Yeah.
If you're looking for, is looking for.
He's
That's
looking
very
for.
good.
That's a good.
Powerful.
That's
That's powerful. Yeah, and I think we mentioned 5 differences between knowing whether your dating pursuits is Christian or non-Christian. But the point is, you need to go to the Word, you need to go to God, and also to the Church of God, community around you, and figure that out. Because it's not really, there's no formulas when it comes to dating. We cannot give you a formula on how exactly to do it. But the point is, we figure that out, walking hand in hand with God and also with the church family that He has given us.
Yes, that's awesome.
So next week, we are asking the question, how far is too far?
I don't know, how far is too far?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to see that next week. Next week we'll know how far is too far. Just remember to hit subscribe and ring that bell.
Yeah. Which bell?
The bell, the subscribe bell thing, the notification one, so that they know when we put the next. Sorry, Abel's a bit old, like it just, he don't know. Yeah, he still uses Facebook.